Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. to see to do here, and just what you've meant to Syracuse, football and in the history. You went on to play for the Oilers and then the Cowboys and the Rams. Just bring me back into your time and let's reminisce a little bit for people that know and some people that may not know the teams that you played on and just what Syracuse football was like back then.
Well, I mean, it was a wonderful time. I wish I could go back 30 years and do it all over again. I would love to go back to Syracuse, not so much the NFL, but Syracuse when the camaraderie and the teammates and the coaches that we had were second to none, and we were competing with the big boys around the country. I mean, we went to it was, late in Dick McPherson's run where we went to 4 straight bowl games with a 3-0-1 record, playing the SEC, which even back then was one of the toughest conferences in all of college football. And to go 2-0-1 against the SEC, of course, no overtime rules back then, but that, I'm talking about the 87 Sugar Bowl against Auburn, and then following up in 88 against LSU at the Hall of Fame Bowl, and then the Peach Bowl against Georgia. So it was a great time, great teams, great coaches, and it's one of the best parts of my life. And I don't make it upstairs in my house too much anymore, but up in the game room I still have all my bowl jerseys framed in shadow boxes, but it's too hard getting up and down the stairs. But I still carry a lot of that Syracuse memorabilia in my house today, and for example, around Christmas time, I always go back to right before our Hall of Fame Bowl appearance when Flight 103 went down in Lockerbie, Scotland, which was carrying 30-some-odd Syracuse students home from overseas, an overseas semester. And I had the Hall of Fame Bowl jersey mounted in a way that we wore 103 patches on our bowl jersey. So this time of year, I usually go upstairs and I'll take a look at that jersey because I think it was right before Christmas and we were already preparing for the bowl game. So, a lot of good times, a lot of bad times, a lot of good memories, a lot of good teammates, a lot of great coaches, and I'd do it all over again if I could.
Hey, and you talk about your time with Coach Mack, and what he meant to the program, you can't really put into enough words. I don't know if it'd be a long run-on sentence, I believe, but just what you could say, John, about Coach Mack and what he has meant to Syracuse football and what he focused on.
Mac was, I think if you talk to a lot of players from my era, they owe a great deal to Mac, and I'm no different. What Mac did for me at Syracuse University, as well as a lot of other players, set us up for what was to become in life. He preached the hard work, the work ethic, the discipline, and they're character traits that you need, for life. It's not that he groomed me for the NFL. He groomed me for life, and I think a lot of people owe Mac a lot, and basically he set the table for what was to come for years after that with Coach Pasqualoni. I mean, it was great for playing for Mac. I mean, he always had Coach Schwartzwalder at practice, and just to hear Coach Ben and Coach Mac and see how they carried themselves and what they preached to their players. It basically set us all up for life. I mean, I'm sure he played a big part of me going to the NFL, but I think I still have traits today or life lessons that I still use today that were provided to me back at Syracuse, and it came from Coach Mack and his coaching staff.
That coming from John Flannery here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora this morning on an O-line takeover, the first of 3 offensive linemen that'll be here on the show this morning. And John, how much has it changed from Coach Mack to Coach P? I know I'm asking a loaded question. I know it's something I talk about a lot here on the show, but how much has the Coach Mack, Coach P world changed to now where we are in Syracuse football history?
Well, Dan, I don't think it's just Syracuse football. I think it's college football in general. I mean, the game has changed, and you know, I go back and I was thinking about this morning over a cup of coffee because I kind of expected this question. But you know, it's a different day and a different era and a different mindset and different political correctness. I mean, I go back to you know, our two-a-day camps back in the 80s and early 90s. I mean, we went full pads 4 weeks straight, two-a-days. You know, now with whatever the injury protection, you know, they're going, you know, 1 out of every 3 practices is flat. But then you look at the injuries that are occurring today too. So I mean, the game has changed. The transfer portal, the mega conferences. I mean, it's kind of, like you said, it's a loaded question because you're comparing an apple to an orange, and pun intended. But it's a different era. It's a different game, and you know, would I like to see the game go back to what I played? Absolutely, but you know, I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, you know, these college conferences and there's a lot of money at stake, probably a lot more than there was 30 years ago. So there's a lot of outside forces that are dictating what college football is today than what it was 30 years ago. And it's you know, I guess some of it's good, some of it's bad. I mean, my opinion, it's all bad, but it's you know, what I loved about college football was the rivalry and the pageantry that you don't get in the NFL, and quite honestly, and the difference was the money, right? I mean, win or lose on a Sunday afternoon, you're going to get paid, and you know, you miss all that. So, you know, I'd like to say the game has changed because, you know, there's a lot of money at stake, and it seems to be that is the driving force of you know, what has occurred over the last 30 years. I mean, it's like college football is almost to the point now where, you know, let's just call it a farm club for the NFL, take the top 32 teams and assign them to an NFL team and let's get on if that's where we're headed. But that's, you know, that's what it seems like where we're headed. You know, the transfer portal, hell, it's free agency for college football. So, you know, a lot has changed, and it's not just changed at Syracuse, it's changed in all of college football. And it's, you know, like I said, I don't like it, but, you know, I come from a different time and era, so.
Yeah, you know, and you talk about that, you know, it being a business, and it's just about making money. It's about, you know, I mean, you see, like you said, these mega conferences, there used to be mega conferences. There used to be, you know, conferences just named after regions of the country. You know, you could be in the South and you could be in the East and whatnot. And now what we're seeing with the SEC moving to 16 schools and taking within them Oklahoma and Texas, which I told Oklahoma be prepared to be 8-4 and Texas be prepared to be 6-6. But you know, when we look at what the SEC is becoming, the American Athletic now is going to have 14. The ACC has 14. So, you know, as these things grow and this world continues to ever change, we're seeing that it's teams move for TV deals. They move for exposure. It's not about playing a regional opponent. It's not about history. It's not about any of that, you know. And when it comes down to it, Oklahoma and Texas are gaining something from the SEC. But when you're making buku bucks in the Big 12, now you're making buku bucks in the SEC, but you were still making money. So, you know, this whole money drives everything. I've never been a fan of that, and I don't believe that that's the world that we should live in. I had a Super Bowl champion, Dominic Rhodes, tell me something I never forgot. He said, if you chase your dreams, the money will chase you. If you chase the money, you'll chase it forever. And so for Oklahoma and Texas and some of the other schools out there, I just question, are you chasing the dream or are you chasing the money? And if you're chasing the money, like Oklahoma and Texas, I really think that they should be prepared to understand you're now going to be the middle to the bottom tier of a conference when you could have been the top tier of the one you were in. So, and Oklahoma was. So I just, leaving for money. I mean, look at what Syracuse joined in the ACC for football, and they've been a bottom feeder every year except for one. So, if you leave for money, it doesn't necessarily mean it's better for your team overall, better for recruitment, or better for the expansion of your own university or college.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to do. I understand the money aspect, but there's. If you're going to chase the money, there are implications, and I think that's one of the things that Syracuse is experiencing right now, and quite honestly, not just in football. I think it will. You'll see it in the other sports. Obviously, it makes perfect sense for the lacrosse team. I mean, the lacrosse team was good when I was there, and they're still good, and now they're in the conference of the teams they used to be competing against for the national championship every year. So, they're beating each other up during the regular season instead of just waiting to see them in the end of the year tournament. So, you just, the buyer needs to beware because, if you chase the money, you might not like some of the outcomes.
No, and that's the truth of it. Syracuse Orange and NFL offensive line alum John Flannery joining me this morning on Wake Up Call. John, we talk about how it's not just Syracuse, but the whole world of college football has changed. Let's talk about what has changed at Syracuse. In the Dino Babers era, the team is 4-8, 4-8, 10-3 with Scott Schaefer's players, then 5-7, 1-10, and 5-7. Your take on where things are currently and what you see, because Dino came in, said it's going to be Orange is the new fast. It's not going to be a defensive, it's not going to be a defensive knockout type of situation, a punch down, drag out, I should say. It's not going to be a run the ball down your throat. And then Sean Tucker comes in, they start running the ball more, they get a little bit slower on offense. Syracuse in the Dino era, and really since the end of Coach P, they haven't had an identity. Syracuse has been in an identity crisis since Greg Robinson all the way through, and I can say that because I grew up watching Syracuse football when you were playing and then all the way through to today. So, this identity crisis and where they currently are, what your take is as an alum on that.
Well, I mean, Syracuse had an identity. Again, we have, the administrations, probably after Coach P, they chose to create their own identity instead of embrace the identity of what Syracuse football was. I mean, you can go back to Coach Ben and then Frank Maloney and Mac and Coach P. They embraced the identity of Syracuse University. They did not try to change the identity. And, we saw a little bit of a glimpse in Doug's short tenure. And who could blame a guy for leaving his alma mater for his first NFL head coaching job? But I know he took a lot of heat over that. But it's why are we trying to change the identity? I read an article very early when Jake retired and Dr. Gross came in. He brought in Coach Robinson, and I read an article that said something along, we're going to start new traditions. Well, why do we need to start new traditions? Syracuse has plenty of great traditions, but I think in trying to create this new identity, they, whether it's, their offensive or their defensive systems or whatever, what I see happening, this year, because of, one good thing about the ACC is I'm able to get the ACC network, and I saw more Syracuse games this year than I probably have in years past. So So for that, I'm appreciative. But I see the same traits I talked about earlier in the earlier segment when I was talking about Coach Mack is, the working together, the work ethic, the discipline. I just don't see that in a lot of the current teams. I see stupid penalties. You're 4th and 1 and jumping off sides, so now you can't go for it. Botched 2-point plays. I mean, there's overall whatever identity they're trying to establish, it really isn't working. And what I'm seeing is, and I'm not even talking about X's and O's, Dan. I'm talking about, just a lack of discipline, a lack of camaraderie, a lack of excitement, a lack of work ethic. I mean, that they're the intangibles that, basically help your X's and O's. And that foundation doesn't seem to be there. So, without that, your X's and O's are useless anyhow.
Yeah, and that's, and like you said, a lack of discipline, and that's something that, you always go back to the coaches when it comes to that, and to, what are they teaching, what are they not teaching when there is a lack of discipline. When you're watching them on the field, because, and you made note of this, and I've seen this, but, the reality of the fact that, this team being a cohesive unit and being together, being with each other. One of the things that I struggled with was that when a team made mistakes, normally the coach would take that responsibility. And the guys have told me, hey, he takes it in the locker room, but publicly, when they're going for a 2-point conversion and they say, well, why'd you get the penalty? He's like, well, my personnel didn't know who was supposed to be out there. And when I see things like that, or I see a coach take a double timeout, a timeout, and then take a timeout after the timeout, there's things that have made me just sit here and wonder, where is it? Where is the leadership? The guys wanting to go for it on 4th down, coming off the field really slow. Garrett Schrader on 4th and 2, 4th and 1, didn't want to come off the field. So, to me, I'm seeing a disconnect, and this is what stands out to me, and you could tell me this from being a player. When players are individually good, but the team is not, and collectively, I always put that on the coaches. When you got a bunch of individual successful players, the Andre Siscos, the Garrett Williams, the Sean Tuckers, the Josh Blacks, the Aaron Services, the Kingsley Jonathans, the Caleb Okachukwus, and so on and so forth on this team, and to have what they have, Michael Jones. So when we see this individual success, but the team collectively isn't doing it well, do you put that on the coaching staff when that's happening? And when you see players, on the sideline screaming, throwing their helmets, guys coming off the field slow because they don't want to go for a field goal, they want to go for, put that all together kind of in a box, and let's show what this thing is. When you see players reacting like that, and you see them individually successful but collectively not that great, what is that saying to you?
Well, I'll give you a different perspective, and again, I'm going to go back to my era. Is yes, that's on coaching, but from a different angle than probably where you're going with it. Is back in my day, if we had great senior leaders, the Darrell Johnstons, the Marcus Pauls, and so on, the Blake Bednars, and we as players, and this is part of what Mac instilled upon us, was this is your team, okay? This is not my team. This is your team. You take ownership and you hold each other accountable. What I don't see on sidelines, or what I don't see on the game, is the leadership from the players and holding their line mate or their teammate accountable for their actions, right? And we had great team leaders, and that didn't happen overnight. The leadership within the organization, within the team, the locker room, grew and developed. And from a coaching perspective, a coach needs to promote that. And Mac did. I mean, one of the biggest week of was selecting captains. I mean, it was a time-honored tradition back then, and Mac. I don't know what they do nowadays, but Mac used to have a portrait painted of his captains and hung in the players' lounge. And just because you were a captain, there was more team leaders than just the captains. So, that's what I see missing is everyone's waiting for the coach to do something, and the coach needs to do something, but he needs to instill in his players, this is their team, and they need to hold each other accountable, and they need to take a leadership role in what's going on and off the field, because quite honestly, Dino Babers ain't on the field on a Saturday afternoon. 11 players are on offense, 11 players are on defense. Now, he needs to make sure he's delivering the right message, but I think the players need to make more of an investment into their team, and and again, that needs to be a message from the head coach, whoever it is, and it's the players' team, and it's not the coach's team, and take some leadership and hold everyone accountable, and I see that missing, and that wasn't the case when I was there, and I think it continued under Coach Pasqualoni, but somewhere that got lost along the way.
Yeah, and when you're changing coaches, John, when you go from Coach P and you get to Greg Robinson for a few years, and then Doug for 4 years, and Scott for 3 years, and now Dino and whatnot, does that do something to it as well, in your opinion, that you can't really create that?
Well, absolutely, because if you're going to change coaches every 3, 4, 5 years, it's starting over.
Right.
To me, Syracuse University is a Northeast institution, and it needs a Northeast coach. That's my opinion. That's why things moved so seamlessly and continued from Coach Mack to Coach P. But every year, if you're going to, every 3 to 4 years, I mean, Syracuse is changing coaches almost at the rate from the time their freshmen become redshirt seniors. And it's hard to do that. I mean, when you're changing offensive, defensive schemes, personnel, and you have that amount of turnover, it's hard to groom your leadership on your team, because every coach coming in is going to have their own set of leaders. So, the continuities is a big problem, because there's not a flow like there was back in my era. I mean, new coaches come in with new schemes, and it's starting over. I mean, a coach comes in with a new scheme, that scheme's not going to be effective. Defense will typically catch on a lot quicker than the offense, but some of these offensive schemes, they take a good year or two to master. That could help you win ball games. So, there's a continuity issue with the changing and whatnot. So, it's a difficult situation. I mean, I just want to see Syracuse get back to where it should be.
Speaking here with John Flannery, former Syracuse offensive lineman and an offensive lineman in the NFL with the Oilers as well as the Cowboys and the Rams. John, for you to take a look at this, and like you say, they need a Northeast coach. They need somebody who cares about the Northeast. Are you surprised that Syracuse University has not done exactly that they haven't reached out to someone from the Coach P tree? Or, there's so many coaches that have come through the history of Syracuse football. You had a lot of them. Certain ones may want the job, certain ones may not want the job. But, you have the Steve Adazios of the world that are out there right now and available. Do you believe that this team can only move forward if they have a coach that understands the Northeast, understands Syracuse history, understands who they are, reaches out to the community? Because right now you have a coach who does not recruit locally, does not go to local games, as he admitted, does not allow his assistant coaches to talk to anybody, so nobody in the community even knows who these people are. And on top of that, does not connect with the alumni. So with Syracuse past, there's nothing, and except for Deion Maddox and Coach Hicks have been reaching out, but you're not hearing anything from Dino to the alumni from what I'm hearing. You can speak on that. There's no recruiting locally. There's no respect for the Northeast for the most part. So, I mean, how do you handle all of that knowing that you have a coach at Syracuse that doesn't really do much with any of the local schools? Those kids are going on and playing for Pitt and Indiana and Buffalo and so on and so forth and being very successful. One of them, Servassier Dennis, is playing in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, which is one of the rotators for the college football playoff, and he'll be doing that with Pittsburgh. So how do you handle a coach that doesn't recruit locally, doesn't really understand the Northeast, doesn't really have anybody that has strong ties to the Northeast, and isn't reaching out to the alumni?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big problem. And to go back, I don't think you need a Northeastern coach. What you need is a coach that understands how Northeastern football operates.
Okay.
And you are passing on kid. I mean, I haven't looked at my rosters over the 4 years, but I would be willing to say 95% of our teams were from New York, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, New Hampshire, New Jersey. We had the occasional outlier, Marcus Paul from Florida and whatnot. But most of our teams were Northeastern players. And here's the thing: if that's wrong, how come we were competing on the national level? How come we went to 4 straight bowl games? How could we go 2-0-1 against the daunted SEC with kids from Pence? It has become so, this whole stars. We got to get stars. There was no star ratings. The coaches recruited kids based on potential, attitude, and again, I think a lot of it goes back to the intangibles. The kids in the Northeast have, I think, a much greater work ethic than some of the kids nationally, right? These kids are, because they're taught in high school, right? They're taught in high school how to play. I digress, but people always ask me, living in Texas for the past 30 some odd years, how would Texas, because they know Pennsylvania, where I'm from, is a big football state, and they always say, I go back to the Berwick programs under George Curry. How would Texas high school football and Pennsylvania high school football, how would they fare? And I flat out tell them, honestly, I said, Texas high school football has much more talented, but with that talent comes the individuals. I said Pennsylvania football would beat you 9 out of 10 times because those kids are taught how to work together. They're taught to check their egos at the door and to play as a team, and they would just outwork you. Now your playmakers are gonna make their plays, but overall they're gonna grind you to death, and that's that's what you get from a Northeastern recruiting base. You get a lot of kids that have been taught the intangibles in high school, that if you have a coach at a Northeastern university that is going to embrace those intangibles, you're going to be successful. And again, I go back, that's what I'm seeing, right? It's the work ethic, it's the discipline, the jumping off sides in a key situation. That's a lack of discipline. That ain't tolerated a lot of times in Northeast high school football, and it was hammered into us when we were at Syracuse. So you don't have to go get superstars from California and Texas that have a 5-star next to them. You just need to get good kids that have talent. And here's the other thing: we don't want to develop talent anymore. We want to bring in a kid that could be an immediate impact as a freshman, right? We don't want to take the kids with potential and redshirt them and put them in a weight program to make them bigger, faster, stronger, make them a better player, teach them the X and O's, teach them the fundamentals, teach them the techniques. It's almost like we don't want to waste the time to develop people, and you're missing out. Again, I'm just going back to what was done in our era, and we were pretty damn successful. I know you have Rob Drummond on the show all the time, but I'd be willing to bet he's going to say the same things.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, and he brings it up all the time. In Central New York, your Tim Greens and your Scott Schwadys and him and whatnot, and then even a little bit farther out, to take a look at different, people that are in the Northeast or that are close. I look at your argument of, okay, and this is what I tell people all the time. The last time Syracuse was truly, truly very successful was 1987. You were on the team, undefeated team. Undefeated in 1959, won a national championship. Ernie Davis, where was he playing? Elmira, New York. And then here you go in 1987, and you have a bunch of local guys from the Northeast and from the state of New York and Pennsylvania and whatnot, and you go undefeated, 11-0-1 back when you could tie in bowl games, and you were beating Auburn, but you end up tying Auburn because of a technicality that they can kick the field goal at the end and you can end in a tie. So,
and the runner-up of the Heisman Trophy was from the state of New York, who I would argue probably should have been the Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah,
Donnie McPherson.
Right. So and then you have that side of it, and you look at even Syracuse more recently. Jay Bromley came from the state of New York, had no stars, only had one offer from Syracuse. Came in, went and got drafted in the third round of the NFL. Played, I believe, 4 seasons in the NFL. Played with Eli Manning. Went on to play with Drew Brees. So I'm looking at what happened in history, and then I'm looking at now, and I'm saying, okay, Stevie Scott in the last couple of years, Syracuse really didn't push for him. He ended up at Indiana. What did Stevie Scott do? Oh, he ran for a single-season rookie rushing record at Indiana. So as a true freshman, he has the not only over 1,000 yards, but the new record at Indiana. Servassier Dennis, you talk about developing a player. He was a quarterback, put on weight, went to prep school from CBA, and gained like 25 pounds. Instead of being a slow safety, became a fast linebacker. And he's been linebacker of the week in the ACC. He just won an ACC championship, and now he's playing in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl while Syracuse sits and watches. So, I look at guys like that. Mike Washington, who has open recruitment right now after the coaching change at Buffalo. And, John Phillips from CBA, who went on to block for A.J. Dillon and Andre Williams at Boston College. If it doesn't work to recruit locally, then why are other coaches doing successfully? If recruiting locally and in the Northeast doesn't make sense, then why was 1987 the last time Syracuse was at the top of anything? And then to make a final point on it, if this doesn't work in the here and now, then why did Steve Adazio use it at Boston College to the tune of going to a bowl game all but one season? And I think that season he may have just missed it by a game.
Well, that's the mentality of what's going on currently at Syracuse University is making the old East Coast athletic schools, other schools, stronger. Back when we played and we were in our heyday, Pitt, West Virginia, did not stand a chance. Boston College, they didn't stand a chance of getting a kid when Syracuse was one of his schools. Now, by us leaving that arena, we have just opened up to our old East Coast rivals to say, hey, why don't you guys just get better at our expense?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. You went back, and I go back to your earlier segment about creating new identities. Why are we creating new identities when the old identity worked?
Yeah.
Why are we reinventing the wheel? Syracuse football has been, and in my opinion should always be, you take the kids from the Northeast, you teach them to be hard-nosed football players, play to the whistle with discipline and work ethic, and you're going to be successful. I believe that in my soul, and why we're trying to go away from that, and it just hasn't worked. Definition of insanity, continue to do the same thing and expect a different result. It don't work. So, you know, I think, but again, I'm not going to put everything on. You know, I think, you know, like I told you when we talked last week, you know, it has to be a conscious effort from the entire university, and I'm not just talking the coaching staff. I'm talking the administration too. You've got to allow. This has to be an all or nothing proposition. If Syracuse University wants the football team to get back to the prominence it was in the late 80s and early 90s, they're going to have to change their attitude too. So it's an all or nothing proposition, and it's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's something that's going to take time, and we have spent so many years undoing what worked. We got to get back doing to what worked. And, you know, that's the teams. I mean, I don't know. I know it's an ungodly stat, but between Mac's last 4 years and Coach Pasqualoni's, I forget exactly the number, but it was like, you know, 16 bowl games in 19 or 20 years. I mean, I would love to see that again. I would, but, you know, at the rate we're going, we may get one bowl game in 20 years. So, you know, it's hard to sit back and watch your university struggle as it has been for the last couple of years. And you know, I take a lot of pride in being an alumni and saying I'm from Syracuse University. And I'm also taking a lot of crap from friends because, you know, we're back to the saying is Syracuse is just a basketball school. So, and I think Mac and a lot of people did a lot of things to kind of demonstrate that, hey, football, Syracuse is not just a basketball school. We got a football program. Well, we're back to just being a basketball school.
Well, you know, and that's the thing. Speaking here with John Flannery, a Syracuse Orange and NFL offensive line alum, you know, the reality that Syracuse is not scary on the football field, and I deal with that, you know, in the media. When, I mean, Dungy had been at Syracuse for 2 seasons, and I had people saying to me, hey, is that Dungy guy any good? Can he play? And I was like, did you watch a game? I mean, I was like, have you seen anything? And every year, Syracuse picked at the bottom of the barrel, 13th or 14th in the ACC, bottom of their division, and it's just, I mean, it's the reality, because people have become accustomed to the fact that Syracuse is just not that good. That's the moniker. Nobody proves them any different, so they stick with it. And, you know, John, you said it's got to change all throughout, though. You said that this is something that can't just be the football team. It has to be a whole university-style change. And something that you and I talk about, and I talk about with alumni from all different decades, is that alumni relations, and as an alum of the football program, actually feeling welcome, feeling important, feeling valued, having a coach that even knows that you played at Syracuse. What does that mean to you, and what does it mean to this university? What is the state, from your opinion, what is the state of alumni relations at Syracuse, and how do we move forward from here?
It's non-existent. You know, I could walk in I'm fairly confident I could walk in the football facility tomorrow and say, I'm John Flannery, I'm here to see Coach Babers, and Coach Babers wouldn't even know who I was. So I've never met the man. So since Coach Pasqualoni, I've only heard from Syracuse University one time, and that's when Doug Marrone got the job. And I'll never forget it. It was a Saturday afternoon. I was out back having a beer by my pool, and my phone rang, and I recognized the 315 whatever 442, and it was Coach Marrone calling me personally, and he said he was calling a lot of the alumni that he played with and that came after him, and he said, I want you to know that I want to go back to the old traditions, and you guys are welcome at any time, any place. You want to just give a call up here. You want to come to a practice. You want to come to a game. He said, we need to get Syracuse University back to being Syracuse University. I have never heard from a single representative of Syracuse University since Doug Marone left. So, I told you the story last week when we spoke that under Coach Schaefer, I don't always get back to Syracuse University living in Texas, but with Coach Schaefer, the one year they came to NRG Stadium in Houston, and I think they played Kansas State. And I'm like, well, hell, this is right in my backyard. You're damn right, I'm going. So I call up to the university. I forget. I don't even remember who I talked to. I said, hey, because I know years earlier, I think Coach Marone went to back-to-back pinstripe bowls in New York City, and they had alumni tents and tailgates and this, that, and the other thing. And I know there's alumni here in the Houston area. I call up there, hey, you're playing in Texas, can I do anything? How do I get tickets to the game? Is there any packages? Is that and the other thing? And you know what they told me? Get your tickets on Ticketmaster. So I got 4 of the best seats I could, and me and my kids went. And we saw a hell of a football game. I got to visit. It was Christmas Day, and my oldest son at the time was maybe 12 or 14 years old. And Rob Moore was on Rob Moore, an old teammate of mine, was on the coaching staff, and he shot me a text and said, hey, we're doing our Saturday walkthrough or whatever. And again, it was Christmas Day. Our Saturday walkthrough at Rice Stadium, why don't you come down, bring your son? So, I went down, walked onto the field. No one from the university, no one from the coaches, they didn't even know who I was. And, other than Rob Moore. And, and then I poked my head in the equipment room. Of course, Kyle Federley remembered me from way back. But it was like, the funny part was no one even asked who I was. Why are you on the field? There wasn't even any security. So, that's the state of the Alumni Relations. And I hear other stories from other players. Now, about a month ago, someone from the athletic department did come visit me, and he was doing a whirlwind tour about trying to improve the Alumni Relations. And we had a nice conversation. I told him a lot of the same things I'm telling you right here, and we'll see what happens. But right now, I think the Alumni Relations are non-existent.
Yeah, and I hear that from a lot of people, and you and I talked about it off the air, and it's the truth of the matter is that I've always been a place for alumni to speak their mind on the show, to talk about the history, and never in a million years did I think that I would become a place for alumni to speak about not feeling involved and not feeling important, and that's become such a massive piece of what we do here at Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. But, this is something that I never expected, because I never thought that a university or a college would be illogical and irrational enough to push away the people that used their product, used it well, and found success with it. Your best selling point, best springboard of anything is to take the people that became before that actually liked it and enjoyed it and use them to sell it. Like I said, you don't sell hair products with people that don't use them. You don't sell hair products with people that are bald. You sell hair products with people that said, oh yeah, 10 years ago I used this and I got this out of it. And at Syracuse, it's almost like once you play for the Orange, you're done with the Orange, you hang up your jersey and you leave, then you're not needed anymore, and it's just bringing the next guy in. And if you push away all your alumni and you don't care about your alumni and you don't reach back out to your alumni, essentially what you're doing is you're having a temporary fix for a few years, but nothing is going to sustain over a long period of time. Those are the people that you also go to first for money, and I've heard from some alumni that they're holding on to their checks because all they've asked is for Dino Babers to call them and just say hello, and he's refused to do it, so they've refused to give their money.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying, Dan. Identity crisis, right? I mean, you want to do things a new way, and by saying that right off the bat, you have already chastised or cast away the alumni, because, we're going to start new traditions. Well, that's a bitter pill for me to swallow because our traditions worked, right? You want to compete and you want to recruit with the big boys in the ACC and the Notre Dames and stuff like that. You want programs like them. Those programs thrive and include their alumni and everything. So what are we trying to do? Right? We're saying this, but we're doing this, and that don't make sense. We're saying the right things, but we're doing the wrong things. If you want a program, you got to include your alumni. If you want a fan base, you got to include your alumni. But then you got, the whole identity crisis is perplexing. I mean, they're saying this but doing this. That don't make sense. I want to compete with Notre Dame, and I want to recruit with Notre Dame, and Notre Dame has a huge alumni base, and they're welcome all the time. But I want to compete with them, but I don't want to be like them. So what's our identity? I want to detach us from the old Syracuse traditions because I want to create new traditions. Well, right now the only tradition I'm seeing is losing. Yeah. So, and here's the thing, Dan, in case any of the players are listening, I appreciate what those kids have done. And quite honestly, like I said, I watched a lot of games this year on the ACC network. Those kids played hard. Yeah. And they, honestly, they were in it to the end against Florida State, Wake Forest, Clemson. They very easily could be sitting at 8-3 right now if the ball bounces or a call goes their way instead of against them late in the game. They could be at 8-3 in a bowl game. But I don't want to detract from what those kids have done. They played their ass off and they played hard, and so I don't want. I don't want that to come across as I'm trying to diminish what those kids have done. I think they just need a little direction, a little discipline, and I think they're close. That team played well, but they're missing some of the intangibles that's going to get them to the next level. Mac always preach, next level. This ain't good enough. We got to do this to get to the next level. That's kind of where that team was this year. And they were in all those games. They just needed that one thing to get them to the next level, and it wasn't there. And it wasn't because of their effort or their attitude or laying down or not playing hard. They played their butts off.
Yeah. And the players know that for me too, is that, I want to see them succeed. I want to see them advance forward. And I just think, and I could be crazy in saying this, Lord knows, somebody will write in and say I am if I am, but, call me crazy, but wouldn't it behoove the coaching staff to bring in players and coaches that had won at Syracuse, to bring in a John Flannery, bring in a Turnell Sims, bring in a Rob Drummond, bring in a Michael Owens, bring in a Don McPherson, who knows what it's like to have these, fantastic seasons and go undefeated and go to bowl games and beat the SEC and, go back to the teams from 1983 where they beat number 1 Nebraska in the Dome. Why has Joe Morris been back one time? Jim Brown's been back a couple times in a decade or something like that. For me, it would just make sense to have players see former players come back and talk to them about this is what it took to win, this is what we did to win. Listen, if you want to go into the castle and you want to pull the drawbridge up and you want to keep everybody out and you think, hey, I don't need anybody, I could do this by myself, that's fine. But guess what? It gets lonely in there, and no matter how much you turn the heat on and the fireplace goes, it's cold in a mansion by yourself. You eventually run out of food and water. So by pulling that drawbridge up and saying, I'm going to do it myself because I got my castle and I don't need anybody but me, that's all well and good. But you're going to run out of food, and you're eventually going to run out of sanity. And that's what I see happening right now, is a school that's put themselves up on a hill by themselves, drawbridge gone, and they're trying to make it all on their own. But guess what? The only way that you can build a football team is with 85 people on a roster. How are you going to take those 85 players on rosters from the past and not build a community that as soon as they're gone, you put the drawbridge down, you send them out, and you pull it back up again?
Yeah, I distinctly remember back in the day, Coach Schwartz, our practices were open to all alumni and distinguished guests. And Mac would, whether it was the end of practice, beginning of practice, hell, sometimes he even stopped in the middle of practice, brought us all in. If he thought there was someone there that had something to offer his team. I mean, Coach Schwartzwalder spoke out, or they came back. Tim Green talked. I remember the Hall of Fame Bowl. Joe Namath was calling the game. He had Joe Namath talk to the team, and so on and so forth. Mac wasn't insecure. He wasn't threatened by that. He embellished that. Hey, these kids are tired of hearing me. Maybe they could hear the same message from somebody else, and that was a welcome concept back in our era. I doubt that happens now. I mean, from what I hear, practices are closed and not even open to alumni.
They're not even open to the media, John.
Yeah. So I think they're missing. How are these kids gonna know what it was like back in the heyday? The kids got a thirst for it. And if the kids don't know the tradition, they don't even know what they're missing. And the only way they're going to hear the tradition, I would be curious. And like I said, I'm half a country away, so I'm not always up to things. But how many times, with all the coaching changes, how many times was Mac allowed to speak to the team? Because, Mac wasn't threatened by Ben Schwartzwalder. He's the only national champion from Syracuse University. Mac had Ben talk to us once a week.
Yeah.
How many times did Mac, because I know he retired and lived in Syracuse, and I think he did some radio work, but how many times was Mac allowed to talk to a team, to a Scott Schaefer team or a Dino Babers team? How do these kids even know what the tradition is if these new regimes are trying to start new traditions or erase the old traditions? These kids don't even know. They don't even know the history. Obviously there's some pictures and whatnot on the wall, and they see some trophies in a bowl case. But how do they know what it was truly like unless they could hear it from the people that were actually there?
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, I think Syracuse functions right now almost like a school that just started their football program. So, with no tradition. And without knowing what you just said, essentially, without knowing where you came from, you have no idea where you're going.
Right.
That coming from John Flannery, Syracuse Orange, an NFL alum. John, we just barely, I think, in everything that we said, it felt like we just talked about one topic or even got to like one piece of this. So, I'd love to have you back onto the show. It's an honor to finally get you on here and speaking with John Flannery. And so, I want to thank you. I want to thank Blake Bednarz and Turnell Sims and your entire team, your entire offensive line. I know Rob talks about you guys all the time on my show. So, kudos to what you did back then. Thank you for caring now. And, I can tell you one thing. If my butt ever gets down to Texas anytime soon, I will be getting in touch with you. And
bring your golf clubs.
I will. But I would love to have you back on the show because I think we've just started the discussion with you, John. So it's been an honor and a privilege, and I'm very grateful that I finally got to talk with you because Syracuse history is very important to me, and having these moments, this time capsule, means the world to me. And so if all I can do in my life is to get all of you guys together to speak your truth and speak your mind, I hope that I can at least be a bridge for you guys.
Anytime, Dan. I'd love to come back. Just let me know when.
Sounds good. Well, take care of yourself. Stay well and stay safe. And a happy new year. And I look forward to talking with you soon.
All right. Thanks, Dan. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
All right. Bye.
See you. That coming from John Flannery one more time on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. I know a lot of you are very ecstatic about today's broadcast and all O-line takeover of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And we will be back with Cam East in a video special to remember, with a player that had over 20 offers, including an offer from Syracuse that came the day before signing day. And so Cam will be talking with us about coming out of Louisiana, getting an opportunity to play college football, having a plethora of places to choose from, and what he ultimately chose and why. And we have some fun along the way, especially in rapid fire. So make sure you're back with us right after this with Cam East And a thanks to John Flannery. Inside the Cafe Cuball Studios, Ryan Bartholomew coming up later on as well, here where sports meets life. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com.
Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout central and upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com. Welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Cuball Studios. You're watching on Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT, Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, and on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, as well as listening on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.com. Plenty of ways to interact with us listening and watching around the world. And I'm very happy. Speaking of around the world, makes a lot of sense because this gentleman got offers from all over the country. That is Cam East. I'm so happy to have him here with us inside of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora's Cafe Kubal Studios. And Cam coming to us from the awesome opportunities they had coming from New Orleans, Louisiana. I love New Orleans, love the area. I went to St. Augustine, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about his school. We'll talk about New Orleans and so much more in this long offer sheet. And I'm going to read it off as we'll get into it. But this is the order in which the offers came in to Cam East. So you see him here on the screen, and he's going to drink some water while I read off 23 names. Mississippi State, Florida State, again, in order of when they came into him. Mississippi State, Florida State, Georgia, Arkansas, North Carolina A&T, Virginia, Tulane, Houston, Louisville, Memphis, Louisiana Monroe, TCU, Colorado, Texas Tech, UAB, Southern, Ole Miss, Indiana, Georgia Tech, Maryland, Louisville. So we have UL and we have Louisville here. What was UL?
University of Louisiana.
University of Louisiana. Okay, so that was the one that came in earlier.
Yeah.
So I read that wrong. So number 9 that came in was University of Louisiana. Then Memphis, Louisiana Monroe, TCU, Colorado, Texas Tech, UAB, Southern, Ole Miss, Indiana, Georgia Tech, Maryland, Louisville, Louisiana Tech, and Syracuse. So just a couple. Cam, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing very well. So for an offensive lineman looking at his future, this is a mighty fine list. I would tell you that if this was my list of 23, I'd be feeling very good about the opportunity that whatever I choose, I'm going to find something good.
Yep.
So bring me into it. Let's go back to the beginning. Did you grow up in New Orleans area? Where'd you grow up?
I actually grew up in Marrero. That's like right outside of New Orleans. It's across the river. But all my life I've lived there, and it's a great place.
And so bring me into being there and, like you said, right across the river from New Orleans. What's it like growing up in Louisiana? I was down there for Katrina relief in 2006 in May. So we were there to help 8 months after Hurricane Katrina hit. Mm-hmm. And so I got to experience the people. I got to experience the music. I got to experience Bourbon Street, and I got to experience the food, which is awesome.
Definitely.
What can you tell me about Louisiana?
So just like you said, there's a lot of fun stuff to do down here, especially around Mardi Gras season. If anybody ever wants to come down here, I recommend that's the time you come down here, Mardi Gras. But food is amazing. People are amazing. Just even being a tour in your own city, that's amazing. So fun to do.
So for you, it's kind of like really close by. You can go on vacation, so to speak.
Yep. Yeah.
So what are like the most favorite things that you've done in Louisiana?
Mardi Gras.
Okay.
Definitely. I look forward to it every year.
So for you to have this opportunity to move forward and play Division I-A FBS college football, to experience that, do you feel, because when I was down in the New Orleans area in Louisiana, it just felt like a community of really loving, caring people that work really hard and appreciate things. People were giving to us when they had nothing just to say thank you for helping them. How would you describe the community?
Yeah, the community is great. Everybody's supportive of what I've done. Even people I meet. Like today I met a man. He saw me in my Ole Miss sweater and he was like, congratulations, and they're proud of me and they don't even know me, so that means a lot to me.
I don't know if you know this. I'm a big Marvel fan. Do you like Marvel?
Yeah, I love Marvel.
So I don't know if you're familiar with this because I think it only went a couple seasons and then they appeared in Runaways, but there was a Marvel TV show based in New Orleans called Cloak and Dagger. Did you see that at all?
No, I have not.
So you definitely got to check that out because it has all to do with the community of New Orleans and just what that's like. And I've never seen a Marvel show set in Louisiana, so I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that really is cool. What is it called again?
Cloak and Dagger.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to look into that.
Yeah, so make sure you check that out. Very, very cool stuff. But so looking at St. Augustine and the school and your experience, what can you tell me that you've taken out of there that has made you a better player and a better person?
Man, it's like just a brotherhood. It's like it really bonds us together. They have a lot of things that's strict, so that's going to help you in the long run of becoming a man. So they have taught me how to grow up, and really fast, actually. I grew up really fast with going there. I learned a lot, and they actually got me a lot better at football. I wasn't as good as I was before I stepped on varsity at St. Aug. So, they made me. I give them huge props of what I've done.
How did they make you?
They made first, we just got a new head coach 2 years ago. But in honesty, that's it seems like he's been there all the time. I'm close with him, real close with him. He's taught me everything I know. My offensive line coach taught me everything I know. So, yeah.
And for you, I want to shout out these coaches. Who has had the best effect on your life? And shout them out by name, because I'd love to show them some love since you gave them some credit here.
Can I do my trainers, 2 people I train with on the side?
You can do everybody you think should be mentioned here.
Okay, so my coach, Coach Nick, he's my head coach. Coach Fig, he's my offensive line coach. Then my trainers on the side, Coach Lacoste, and Coach Smoke, Coach Robbie. Those real big. They played a big part.
And speaking here with Cam East, as he has made his decision to move forward and play at Ole Miss as he steps into his time there. Speaking about growing up in Louisiana and also talking about St. Aug and whatnot, going through your recruiting process with 23 offers, did you anticipate it to be like this? Now that you've gone through the recruiting process, how much of it is what you expected and how much of it was maybe a surprise?
All of it was a surprise. I didn't even coming out my junior year. I was anxious. I didn't think I would get any offers my junior year, so I wasn't really worrying about, the scholarship at that point. I was just worrying about getting better and, helping my team win a state championship. But when they started coming, it was a real surprise. I didn't expect my first offer to be a SEC offer, so me and my family, once I got that first offer, we were happy. Then a few hours later, Florida State called and they offered me. So it was a real big thing,
And bring me into that moment. When did you get that offer from Mississippi State?
I think it was December 9th. And they called me. I was right down here. I was talking to my mom, and then he texted me on Twitter and he told me to give him a call, and I called him. Or he called me, and he was just he was talking to me about the program, and at the end of the conversation, he was like, I would like to offer you a scholarship. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. So that was a great moment in my life. I won't forget it.
In December 9th of last year? This year?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So back in 2020, so we see these 23 offers come through from December 9th of 2020 to now. Being recruited at that time, obviously in these last 19 months, we have been living through a pandemic. Yep. So getting recruited virtually and going through that process, bring me into that. Your first offer being December 9th of 2020. So it's as we're trying to shift out of things and try to get back to some type of normalcy after everything kind of started to shut down in United States in March. How did you handle that unique recruiting that other recruits didn't have to go through in years past?
So if all of the dead periods weren't there, I would have started taking visits a little earlier. But with the dead period, I didn't take my first visit till this summer, and that was with a camp. I went to a camp. No, actually it was Tulane. I went to Tulane first, and that was June 3rd.
Okay.
Yeah, June 4th. I went to Tulane. Then June 5th, I went to Mississippi State. So it was kind of, it played a big role in my decision making because I could only take those 5 visits that I took, and it was hard to fit them in, because I had such a short amount of time.
Yeah, and to, like you said, having these visits be in that short window, how much did that affect your recruiting? Did you feel like you could make obviously you made the decision on Ole Miss, you feel like that's the right decision, but in making the decision, having official visits not run how they normally do, what did that do to maybe affect the scheduling of your recruitment or maybe when you wanted to make your decision?
So when I first committed, I committed to Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Before my season. I always wanted to commit before my season, so in the season I could really worry about it. But it didn't really affect my decision making. But when I opened it back up, it was like, okay, I really have to look more into different things. So that's when during it, in the middle of my season, I was going to visits after one day after my senior night. we got back home at like 12, and I had a flight. I had to be at the airport at like 7 or 6, so I had to wake up at like 4.
So for you to originally verbally commit to Mississippi State, what was it like to go through that process, commit to them, who was your first offer, and then to decommit and have to? What was that conversation like? Did you have a conversation with the coaching staff, and how did you handle giving your word and then taking it back and saying, hey, I'm going to leave this more open?
Right. Yeah, so it did take me a minute. I was thinking about it for like a month, and me and my family, we didn't know what the right decision was at the moment. But after taking the visits and the coaches coming to my house, so it was like, I think it was the best decision for me to decommit. And when I called the coach, he was very understanding, but they still wanted me. So they were trying to talk to me. But at the end of the day, they realized that it's best for me to decommit. And I didn't know where I was going to go at first, but I decided like a few days before signing day, not even a few days, like a week before signing day, I committed to Ole Miss, but nobody knew until signing day.
How did you keep that a secret in a world where everybody's trying to get information on everybody?
It was hard. It was real hard. I had friends asking me. I had, my coach knew. I told my coaches. They knew. But it was like I wasn't really going to sign in in December. I was going to sign in February.
Okay.
But I wanted to sign so bad. It just days before I told the coach, I'm going to sign this week, And that's when I shut it down.
So bring me into the process of when you let Ole Miss know and then how you held on to that for a week and didn't tell anybody.
Yeah, so after I got off the phone with the Mississippi State coach, I was talking to my coach, and I was telling him, I like Ole Miss a lot. And he was like, he told me, because he knew I wanted to sign in February.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know if I wanted to, commit yet. So, but when I found out, it was a few days after I called him and I let him know, I said, I would like to silent commit. And yeah, he knew I was going to do the hat thing in February. I was going to actually lay the hats out.
Yeah.
But I was just so anxious to sign. So, make it official.
Why were you so anxious to sign with Ole Miss in December in the early signing period as opposed to waiting until your original plan of February?
It just looked fun. I wanted to let everybody know that I was signed. I saw everybody else getting ready to sign. I'm like, wow, I want to do that too, and I just pulled the trigger.
Could you have kept it a secret for another 2 months?
I think I could have, but I really thought it might have got out at the same time. So I was like, nah.
Did you? So you told Ole Miss a week before.
Yeah. Yep.
And when you told them, hey, I'm signing on December 15th.
Oh, no, I didn't tell them I was signing. I told them I was committing. I didn't tell them I was signing until 3 days before.
Okay, so you were committed to Mississippi State for a while.
Yeah, yep.
And are you concerned in the rivalry of Mississippi State Ole Miss that you committed to one and you're going to the other? It's going to be like the Cam East Bowl going on right now.
Yeah. I knew that was a big thing, me flipping, and especially to that rivalry. So that was kind of a thing I didn't want to do at first. 'Cause I didn't want it to be any type of drama or anything,
So for you, how soon did you decommit from Mississippi State and commit to Ole Miss?
I decommitted from Mississippi State on December. I think it was December. I don't know. It was early in December, December 1st or December 3rd.
Of this year.
And I committed to Ole Miss on the 10th.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And so, because I remember looking at your recruitment and seeing National Signing Day going, and you were getting some late offers from.
Yep.
And I was thinking to myself, and you didn't make your decision early in the morning publicly.
Yeah, I literally called the coach and told him that morning, because he sent me the papers, but I didn't know if I was going to actually do it yet.
Yeah.
But that morning I called, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to sign. I signed it that morning.
Because I remember looking at your social media, and when you had put out the post about going Ole Miss, it was later. Mm-hmm. So it was almost like an extra surprise to a national signing day. It was like,
Yep.
here's all the people coming through. Oh, Cam East has some time. He's going to be looking through, some of these schools and whatnot. And then, boom, it happens. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, it just kind of like, it was just like a, kind of jump right at you type of post, which, did you want it to do that? Did you want to make a splash on signing day?
Yeah, I wanted to do it, but I really wanted to do it on February signing day. But it's like, things don't always go as planned. Even my family was surprised I did it that day. I didn't even, because I talked to my mom that morning. I was like, I really think I want to sign. And we both made it. And I told my grandparents after I did it, So, yeah.
Speaking here with Cam East coming out of the state of Louisiana, right by New Orleans, from St. Aug and heading off to Ole Miss here with 23 offers for Division I FBS football. Appreciate talking with him inside of the Cafe Kubal studios here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So the day before signing day, my hometown Syracuse offers you.
Yep.
What did that do? Did it do anything that on December 14th, Syracuse was like, hey, want to sign tomorrow?
I still didn't know at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was actually going to go visit up there in January, So, well, not January. When does the dead period end? I don't even know when that ends. I think the third week in January.
Yeah, so you were going to go up and visit Syracuse.
Yep.
So, okay. So you decommit the beginning of December to Mississippi State. December 10th-ish, you commit to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
But you still weren't sure. You were maybe going to go visit other schools in January.
Yep.
So I know you signed on the dotted line at Ole Miss, but are you really going to Ole Miss?
Yes.
Why did Ole Miss do it for you?
It was everything. The program, the players, the coaches, and I just love their offense. I love how they run their offense. Their offense is actually pretty similar to my high school,
And what about it is similar? What do you like about it? What can you say about their offense?
The flexibility of the offense and like the run, the pass, how they change their pass sets up and when they're pass blocking, all the different run combinations they have. I love all of that.
And for you, what does it mean to you that the quarterback that's we were looking at this situation at Ole Miss, obviously as an offensive lineman, you're going to be blocking for the man under center. What did you think about the quarterback situation of Ole Miss, and did that have anything to do with it? Is he going to transfer? Is he going to go to the NFL? Did that have anything to do with it?
No, I actually knew he was. I figured that he was going to go to the league,
Yeah.
But it doesn't really have anything to do with my recruitment.
So you have these late offers come in. December 13th, Louisiana Tech. December 14th, Syracuse. So you're getting this late love. And like you said, you were thinking of potentially going up to visit Syracuse in January. Those were the offers in December. A lot of the stuff had already come in by the end of October, right before Halloween. So to get these last two offers late, did it do anything to change your mindset, potentially change your direction? Did the late December offers affect you at all ultimately?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
How?
So because at that point it kind of took a toll on me because I was planning on going to Ole Miss, but then the other schools started coming in and I was like, okay, I think I should take some time and wait first before I actually sign. But yeah.
So I know the Rebel fans are going to be asking me this. I know you signed.
Mm-hmm.
There's a transfer portal. So how sure are you that you're going to be a Rebel for good?
100%.
What do you think about the transfer portal?
It affects high school recruiting a little bit, or actually a lot.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's good for college football players because not everybody is 100% sure where they want to go when they get to college, and they might see some stuff when they get there that's they don't like, so they would have to leave.
Should a player be able to transfer for any reason, or should it be more tailored toward if there's a coaching change, if there's a promise that's been broken? Do you think any reason flies that you should be able to transfer, or do you think that maybe there should be some parameters on it?
There definitely should be some parameters. you shouldn't be able to I don't think you should be able to go there your first year and transfer
Okay.
unless something really like a coaching change, like you said. But if it's like 3 years down, the road, then I kind of understand. If you're just not, things are not going your way, then I kind of understand. But there should be like you should have to be able to, you should have to send it in to like the NCAA and they approve of it, like your reason.
Now, living in the world we live in right now with the transfer portal, a coach can't give you a list.
Yeah.
So if somebody were to transfer, they can't say, well, you can't play this guy because I don't like him, and you can't play that team because they're playing them in 2 years. We can't play anybody in the conference. Can't go there. Can't go there. I mean, do you like the fact that you at least have some control as a player to not have a list handed to you? Because in some cases, a player has a list handed to them, and that list is maybe their top 2 schools that they wanted to go to.
Right. Yeah. I like that they have the option to go where they want to,
So you're not staying in Louisiana, but you got recruited by teams within the state of Louisiana. What do you want to say to those teams? Because obviously your home state's important to you.
Yeah. I'm definitely happy that they offered me. I loved a lot of the campuses. LA Tech, they were sending me like mail my 10th grade year, my 9th and my 10th grade year. So, I've been on about LA Tech, and I liked LA Tech. I like UL, like ULM, Tulane. I actually loved Tulane when I visited there. It's a beautiful campus.
Yeah, Tulane, and I know Willie Fritz very well. So there's a lot of good there with the Green Wave. But, I mean, looking at this list, it's so substantial, and there's so many teams. Just to name a few that I've covered specifically, Florida State, Virginia, Tulane, Houston, Memphis. Just looking down the line here, the Texas Techs, UABs, Indiana, Louisville, Syracuse, Georgia Tech. There's a lot of these teams that I know very well. This is, even though you had to pick one of them, how difficult was it to say no to the other 22? Because I got to tell you, man, if this was a Christmas list, it's a pretty nice list.
Yeah, it was definitely hard. I had good relationships with a lot of coaches, and it's hard to let people down at the end of the day. Like me and the Tulane coach, we had a really good relationship. He called me every day. What's that?
Who did you talk to there?
It was so the first coach was Coach Barnett.
Okay.
I think that's the one that offered me at first. But Coach Chris Watts, he played at Notre Dame, but he re-offered me.
Okay. And you love the campus at Tulane. So even though you're not going to Tulane, what should people know about Tulane?
Definitely great coaches there. And it's in the middle of New Orleans, so you can't miss out on that, But really good football team, really good campus, everything. Football program, great football program, You're
staying in the South, but you're going to the state of Mississippi.
Yep.
How much do you know about the community you're going to be in, or do you not know much at all?
I know a good bit about it. I talked to my coaches about it because they've been there a lot. But when I went down there, it was like they seemed like really nice people. Everybody I've met going on the elevator, coming down the hotel hallway, seemed like great people. Even the fans seem like great people. Yeah. Everybody's just nice.
So you chose the Lane train.
Mm-hmm.
Lane Kiffin's been all over the place.
Yeah.
He finds his way to Ole Miss. How much of a relationship do you have with Lane Kiffin, and what do you think about him?
I have a great relationship with him, and I think he's a really good coach. I love how he runs his offense. That offense is really good. You can see it this year. They did really good, 10-2, and the bowl game is right down here in New Orleans.
Yeah, and to have Lane, like you said, you like him, you think he's a good coach. What do you like about his personality?
Mm-hmm. So he seems pretty chill, but I know he really likes his players at heart. Like he loves his players. So I can see that from being around him, and I know he's a good person, that he'll take care of you. Like even when he came to my house, I could see that he wanted my best interest,
And so what was it about him that made you feel like he wanted, or he had your best interest?
He was just telling me like anywhere I went that they support, that they're not going to be mad about it. They're supportive of wherever I go. He was telling me like things I could change in my game to fix it up. Things like when I get there, like this was before I like decommitted. So he was like saying if I was to go there, things I would get better at. Like my potential is at high. So those things.
Do you believe him when he tells you that stuff?
Yes.
People, he's a guy that people bring up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
NFL, college. When it comes to football, a lot of people know who Lane Kiffin is. How would you describe him man to man, you talking to him, as opposed to maybe the lightning rod that he is in the media? Do you think he's similar or different to the way people see him?
He's pretty different. He's really honest. He's really a humble person, great human being, you know.
Do you like that he rocks the visor?
Yes, definitely.
So your offensive line coach, Jake Thornton, what can you tell me about him?
Oh, we have a great relationship. I talk to him every day. I know he knows what he's doing. And I know when I get there, I'm going to be developed really good by him. And I love, so when I went down there for the official visit, I actually love that my mom got to meet his wife. Like, that shows how much his family is involved with the program. So it's like I could kind of see that they're going to put their all into me and the program, you know.
And Jeff Lebby, the offensive coordinator, what can you say about him?
Oh, he was great. Yeah, definitely. Great coach.
And so for you, being a part of this offense, being in the SEC, what I think is pretty cool and interesting to play off of your name is that you're Cam East and you're playing the SEC West. It's going to be your division. So we got East in the West.
East in the West.
And if you use that, just give me credit. But what do you think about East in the West?
It's gonna be a big thing. You know, I'm planning on making it a big thing when I get there. I'm gonna dedicate myself to the grind, the work, everything.
And and for you, dedicating yourself to the grind and to the work and everything you're putting forward, what are your best attributes right now as you get ready for Ole Miss? What are the things that you believe are the best parts of your game, and then what are the places that you're going to kind of be working on?
I have great feet. I'm very aggressive. I have really good hands. I feel that I really want to work on my strength a lot more.
Okay.
Getting my body better, getting stronger. Like I said, I have great feet, but you can't ever not get better at something. So I want to get even better with my feet and my hands. But those are my best attributes. Pass
pro or run game, what do you prefer, or do you prefer?
So with pass pro, I love pass pro because you can show off your skill set. You can show off how good you are, all the techniques, like swiping people's hands down. But with run blocking, I love the aggression in run blocking, but you just don't get to show all your technique in run blocking,
So for you, being a part of the SEC as you get set for this, the highest form of football collegiately is what you're stepping into. How do you thrive off of top talent, and how ready do you feel you are for the SEC?
I love talent. I love going up against competition. I don't like going up against people where it's like, okay, it's an easy game. I like to actually be challenged. I feel I'm ready. Once my body gets there, the sky's the limit. Definitely.
Were you upset at all that you didn't hear from LSU with an offer?
No, I wasn't. It used to be one of my dream schools, but as more colleges started coming, I started seeing things in other colleges that I didn't see in that program. But I still love LSU, still a great program,
So you got a conference with LSU, Alabama, Texas A&M, Auburn, Georgia, Florida, a revamped Arkansas, Tennessee that could be getting better, Kentucky, and then Oklahoma and Texas are going to be floating in there soon.
Yep.
What are your thoughts about playing in what kind of looks like another version of the NFL in a way?
Yeah, that's going to help you get out more. It's going to help me. I'm going to get way better as a player going up against top talent. I'm going to get more looks, with the NFL. Everything's going to help out. It's going to be a great addition, to me.
That coming from Cam East here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Final piece inside the Cafe Kubal studios for the Ole Miss signee. on the offensive line. Well, before I get to the final piece, what position, if you could pick anyone on the offensive line, where would you like to be, and where did they tell you they're going to potentially put you?
Left tackle. That's
tackle.
where I would want to be, and that's where they told me I would be.
So you want to be blindside. Yep. What do you like about that? I mean, you are extremely important to the success or the non-success of that offense. Yeah. Bring me into that. That is such a crucial piece to any team anywhere. I mean, there's a lot on your shoulders. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. And, I love a challenge. I just love to know that if I don't make the block, it doesn't work. So I know that I have to make this block or play won't work. If I just let the guy go inside, he sacks the quarterback. So, and I love being on the left side for some reason. It just feels better,
That coming from Cam East. Cam, final part here is called rapid fire. We get off the football field, 3 questions apiece. You put me on the hot seat. I put you on the hot seat. Any question about anything, we're not prepared, no list. We're just going to go and fire away back and forth to round out Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora special with Cam East coming from Louisiana and St. Aug and heading off to Ole Miss to play college football in the SEC. Cam, I'm going to let you go first inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. What's your question for me?
If you've watched my tape, what do you think I can get better on?
Oh, man. I think that for you, obviously, to be in the SEC, they've seen something special in you. I think you can get better on, everything. I think the things that you're good at, you can't rest on your laurels and you got to stay focused, like the stuff you talked about. And I think that where you think you may have a weakness, to focus on that. But really just, I would say, trust yourself, trust your ability, watch film. Don't ever get bored of watching film. Don't get pissed off when you're asked to watch film. I would say if you're a student of the game and you're watching your film and you're listening and you're studying the playbook and you're picking things up, and to not be afraid to ask a question.
Yeah.
I think that's something I would say to you is raising your hand. Some people think that that's not cool, but the only people that learn are the people that raise their hands.
Right.
So I would say sit in the front, raise your hand, and remember to do this. One thing that I'm going to tell you, it's important for you to have time for Cam East.
Mm-hmm.
So with all your studying, extracurriculars, practice, games, hanging out with people and whatnot, I'm going to challenge you to try and spend an hour a day to just meditate, pray, listen to music, but make sure you center yourself and you remember who Cam East is, because no matter how much you prepare for a game or a class or whatever, you're never going to be at your best unless you take care of your health.
Definitely.
My first question for you, Cam, is what is your single I know we said we could go off the football field, but I want to know this. What is your single greatest moment in your football career up to this point? Like your most memorable play?
Most memorable play?
Mm-hmm.
My first play on my highlight tape. I passed set, I kicked. We were going to be in Zachary. I remember it was the beginning of the game. The guy, he tried to reach his arm out, and I did something earlier that day. I watched the video. Teron Armstead knocking the guy's hand down. He fell on his face. I did that exact play.
So you watched that, and you did it.
I've watched that clip of me doing it so many times.
Does that get you amped up?
Yes. I tried to do it to the guy 3 more times that game, but I knocked his hand down. I just replaced my hands on him,
Well, congratulations on doing it and bringing it into life. I'm sure that he did not like it, but I'm sure you enjoyed it. So,
yeah, definitely.
What's your second one for me?
What's your favorite NFL team?
The Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars? Okay.
They're killing me right now. And to have the number 1 pick 2 years in a row, potentially, I am not happy about it. So I think they were heading in the right direction like 4 years ago, and they just had bad character on the team. Some of their most talented players didn't have the best of character or teamwork, and that definitely affected it, which really goes to show you that if you put together a team based on talent, they could be good. But if you put together a team based on talent, morality, and character, they can be great.
Yeah, definitely.
My second one for you, Cam, we're going to do a Cam East mixtape. What are the 3 songs that have to be on it?
3 songs. Dreams and Nightmares by Meek Mill.
Okay.
So we're talking about old school, like
Anything you
back in
want.
the day?
Anything you want.
Okay. So there has to be some type of Lil Durk on there.
Okay.
Some type of Lil Durk.
Okay.
And for the last song, Flashing Lights by Kanye.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Got some Kanye. Did you watch the concerts that they did on Amazon Prime at like the middle of the night?
No, I didn't.
I watched a good portion of that. It took forever for Kanye to come on stage, but that's pretty
Really?
good. I thought he did good. Yeah. What's your last one for me?
Going into college, what should I be prepared for?
Oh, man. So I would tell you, when you're away from home, it is easy when you are away from your family to think that you have no responsibilities.
Yeah.
I would say this to anybody. I know it's easy to party. I know it's easy to go out and do stuff, hang out with the ladies, not really do this and that. I would tell you that you need to stay focused. It doesn't mean don't have fun.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, take an hour for yourself, center yourself. My best advice to you at 36 years old now is to pray about everything, worry about nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's harder to do than to say.
Yeah.
Make sure that you keep a good relationship with God. Care about your schoolwork. Learn, because you're going to have to do something after football. Find what you're passionate about, and just really trust yourself and know yourself. Like, understand that what can make you really excited in the short term may not be the best thing for you in the long term. So before you just walk outside and think, oh yeah, in the here and now, this is awesome. Think about if that's going to have a positive domino effect or a negative domino effect on your life, because one move in your life, in the chess game of life, could take Cam East, the NFL player, and turn him into Cam East. He doesn't play here anymore.
Yeah. Right.
So
Definitely.
just make sure that you focus on your morality, focus on your faith, and just, be a good kid. I mean, go have fun, but do it in such a way that you're thinking about your future.
Definitely.
So now my last one for you. Okay, I would ask you this. I'm going to flip it on you. So you're younger than me, but what have you learned in life? If you could give me any piece of advice on what you have learned, what advice would you give to me?
I always got to keep God first. I love to read my Bible every night. That's like my biggest thing, reading my Bible. If I don't do anything in the day, I have to read my Bible. I have to. I have 3. So like my favorite, what is it? Like my favorite verse my favorite, what is it called? Scripture I like to read every night is Psalm 91.
Okay.
And the 23rd Psalm. I love those. They play a big part in my life to keep me protected at all costs, Yeah,
in Psalm 91, to take a look at this, it talks about those who go to Most High for safety will be protected by the Almighty. I will say to the Lord, you are my place of safety and protection. You are my God, and I trust you. God will save you from hidden traps and from deadly diseases. And then it goes so on and so forth for Psalm 91. And then Psalm 23, to make mention of this one, is that this is the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And the funny thing about this is that I actually have this. When you walk in my front door, right above my coats, it hangs right there that it's the last thing you see before you walk out.
Yeah.
Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they protect me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. So 2 great Psalms. What made you pick those?
So growing up, my grandparents, they always we always read those and they always told me about them. And as I got older, I realized how important they are to my life, to keep a witness of protection over me every day that I go through my life. I go outside, step outside, that God will always have me protected.
Well, coming from a kid who's got a ton of offers and great opportunities in front of him and a great school for exposure and opportunity for the NFL, I like your kindness. I like your generosity of your time, your humbleness, and your faith. Don't lose who you are, Cam. Keep being awesome. And I would love to be able to chronicle your career. So if you'd like to come back on the show, I'd love to have you.
Definitely.
So Cam East playing in the West. I love it so much. Very excited, man. Go enjoy New Orleans for me. God bless, and I look forward to talking with you soon. And please, I know I haven't met them yet, but please say hello to your family and give them a hug from me, because family's important.
Definitely, I got you, for sure.
All right, man, be good. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, have a great day.
You too. Take care.
Cafe Cabal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafecabal.com. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the Whole Frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Here at Progressive Dental, we understand the importance of regular dental visits and preventive care. Cleanings and checkups are essential to good oral health. We have multiple locations in the Southern Tier, so come visit us in Binghamton, Enwell, Kirkwood, Montrose, and Norwich. For self-pay non-insured patients, we offer the Smile Plan, which covers all of your cleanings, x-rays, and exams for an affordable yearly price. Call 607-754-2273 or 607-754-CARE to make an appointment today. For more information, visit our website at progressivedentalny.com.
The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make your way out to the Millhouse Market today, and well, I should say every Tuesday through Sunday, Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., and on Sundays from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. right there on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. And you can download their app on the Google Play or Apple App Store to have everything at your fingertips. Their homemade breads and desserts to quinoa bowls, rice bowls, salads, as well as brick oven pizzas and sandwiches named after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski. Ingrained in our community and ingrained in our taste buds, the Millhouse Market is there for you with their general store with local products from local companies, as well as their indoor dining, which will change every single weekend to a new bistro menu. So every weekend you can try something new. And of course, their drive-through pickup window where you can grab your food and go. There for you, 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. The Millhouse Market, truly worth the drive every single time.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/livenowdt, and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. All inside of the Cafe Cabal studios. I'm honored and privileged to have the former offensive lineman center for Syracuse, Ryan Bartholomew, here with me from Syracuse to the NFL and now to the Military Bowl. I am so proud to have him on, and I'm so elated that this is one of the people in my Rolodex that when I shoot him a text message, he gets right back to me. Ryan, how are we doing today?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Doing well. And let's hop right into it. Syracuse, when you were playing at Syracuse, we know that, guys were going to the NFL and there was success and there was different things going on and whatnot. There's been ups and downs and around the corners. How are you assessing the here and now as we step into year number 7 with Dino?
It's just kind of odd to see we start off with this orange is the new fast. We're going to run around in the dome, that old Baylor offense, and kind of move fast to evolve to really run heavy sets and running the ball with the running back and the quarterback. It's just kind of odd to see that there's not really a identity to Syracuse, especially 7 years with the same coach and a lot of the same coaching staff.
I'm going to paint a little picture here, as I've done with other alum, and just to get your thoughts on this. This is where Syracuse is at the time that we're talking. They do not recruit locally. Dino admitted that he has not been to a single game for any of the local high schools, and all of the state championships were played in the dome. So all he literally had to do to see any one of those 10 teams is walk about a couple feet. So he has not seen the local teams. He does not recruit the local teams. He does not reach out to the alumni, as many alumni have told me. And on top of all of that, they lead the ACC in amount of players in the transfer portal, which is somewhere around 20 right now, including 4 schools that are going through coaching changes. And on top of all of that, his staff either gets fired or switches from year to year. I don't think he's ever kept the same staff. So we put all of this together, plus the media is not allowed anything but one opportunity a week. We're not allowed to talk to the assistant coaches, and a lot of practice is closed outside of stretching. When I tell you that, and that is the current culture of Syracuse football, what does that make you think of?
That's a loaded question there, but it's I'm trying to say something positive based upon that, but it's just kind of it seems like we're not sticking to anything, as you kind of say there. We're not committing to these are our tent poles and we're going to go apply that. That's one thing when I was at Syracuse and Coach Marone came in, he's like, look, we're going to do this. We're going to go around the state. I believe every coach had a part of New York State that they're going to recruit. Even if there's not players, just relationship with the coaches is very important. So when there are players that you feel can contribute to Syracuse University, the coaches are more likely to say a good word about the university. I think just kind of when I see Coach Babers and all the things that have happened, it's just there's not these tent poles that he wants to kind of go and build upon. And I think that's something that I think with the defense they've done last year with Coach White, did a good job. I think this year with Sean Tucker and Derek Schrader just being able to run the football, that's something we want to build upon and have that identity and recruit to it and kind of build your staff around that identity. I think that'll be helpful. And in terms of recruiting, I mean, you got to find territories you want to recruit. And I know in the ACC, a lot of this moves more south. But again, New York State, basically New York State or up to Maine down through Virginia, you got to be able to recruit those areas. And a lot of talent in those areas.
Yeah, and that to me it's important. It's imperative that you recruit locally. And he said during COVID that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to recruit the area and this, that, whatever. But it was just words. Now, he did take a player from New York, but not upstate New York. Did take a couple players from New Jersey and took a player from Maryland. And you have Sean Tucker from Maryland that's come in and whatnot. But Sean Tucker, you talk about, his success is building the team around him. He was a happy accident, in my opinion, because he was the 4th string running back. Abdul Adams, if he doesn't opt out because of COVID, if Jarvion Howard doesn't opt out because of COVID, if Jawar Jordan Jr. doesn't get injured and eventually transfer, we might have never seen Sean Tucker on the field at Syracuse. So speak to that, the fact that maybe what kept Dino's job was a happy accident.
Well, I say this a lot. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Just sometimes you stumble into success. A lot of people have, and a lot of people worked at things and don't accomplish anything. So, it's a happy accident. It's a happy accident. We'll take and gotta build upon.
You look at Ryan, you being an alum of Syracuse University and of the football program. What are relations like for you? You know, I always ask the alumni, how are things going? What's the connection like? What is it like for you?
Yeah, so when there's a few things, Coach Hicks, Deion Maddox, they do a good job reaching out to alumni, especially if they come in their area, they'll let you know. Tickets to games, whether it's home games, away games, always sending out emails and trying to get people to come back. In terms of kind of Coach Babers or any of that stuff, I mean, I'm sure he's leaving that to them to do those things. And then if you're there, I unfortunately haven't been able to go back up there in a while, but so I can't speak to that. But the program's doing a better job. I think they have emphasized that. Mr. Wildhack has definitely emphasized that in the last year or so to make sure that we're reaching out to the alumni of the football program and keeping in touch with them.
You know, a lot of people say it's not coming from the staff, it's not coming from Babers, but Deion Maddox and Will Hicks. I mean, Deion is an alum, so he knows obviously what it's felt like, and so he can change that. And Hicksy is Hicksy. I mean, Hicksy's got relationships with all 32 NFL franchises. So, you know, if I ask anybody about relations when it comes to Babers, there's an upset, kind of like they feel pushed out attitude. And then when we talk about Deion Maddox and Hicks, it's, oh my God, I love those guys. So, I mean, I guess there are two bright spots. And, you know, I do want to make clear that as much as people are upset with alumni relations, maybe, that Coach Hicks and Deion Maddox are definitely doing things well. And thank God for them is what I have to say.
Yeah. And I know this is your show, but I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
And just based upon, all right, Hicks and Deion Maddox are building this bridge and stuff, and Coach Babers kind of on the side I think that's kind of speaks to the future of the program, I would believe, in that maybe some people aren't there for long.
Yeah.
But certain aspects of the relations must continue no matter who the head coach is. I mean, that's something you see, I would say.
See Deion Maddox and Coach Hicks stick around? Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, more along the lines of separating whoever the coach is, because when Coach Robinson comes, people, alum from before, felt all the Coach P alums felt kind of out of whack. Same thing, Coach Ramon comes in, all the Greg Robinson and Coach P alums feel like, oh, you don't have a part here, and same thing with Coach Babers. So maybe building something outside of the head coach themselves is something that the university, at least, or the athletic department feels is important, no matter who the head coach, because honestly, unless it's going to be another Syracuse alum, most head coaches have no affinity to alum of the schools to begin with.
Yeah, so I mean, to answer your question, I think Coach Hicks being taken out of the strength and conditioning world was a massive mistake. I think moving him into this, where he is now and whatever you want to call this role, to take him out of there is heartbreaking to me. And he didn't deserve it. Dino has shown that he does not have a bridge that's an eighth of what Will Hicks does. And so to the NFL, Hicks is, to me, he's a captain of the boat. So I think, for Hicks to stay with Syracuse, despite being demoted is how I look at it, and disrespected, I commend him, but he's just a good man.
Yes.
And Deion Maddox has, worked hard to be good as well. So I would like to see that, but whoever the future coach of Syracuse football is, I would like it to be someone that wants to be there. I know some people that want to be there necessarily, And I know some people that would like the opportunity. I know if I could put a staff together right now, I think it would be a staff that alumni would like. And so to me, I hope that the right people come in that care. And there's some people that I have in my mind of the future, whenever that is. But for right now, I mean, I think, yeah, they have to improve relations, because what's sad right now is John Wildhack steps to a podium and says, we're going to need everybody. We're going to need the community. We're going to need the alumni to spend money. And I'm like, those are the same people that Dino refuses to call.
Right.
So, and I've had some alumni say to me, or through somebody in conversation of the alum, that they've said to me, listen, we have checks that we want to donate to Syracuse's football program. And all we've asked is that Dino calls us and just says hello and registers us as a human being. Dino won't do it, so they won't donate. And I think, to me, I don't get that part of it. You know, you would think that the best way to sell something is to go to the people that use the product before. Yeah. And Ryan Bartholomew, who's been with the Baltimore Ravens and been with the Arizona Cardinals, you should be there every single season talking to the O-line, and especially the last few years when they're leading the country in sacks allowed. So, I mean, I don't understand it. It doesn't make logical sense. But in the words of some other D1 coaches that have asked me about the program, they said what we're seeing is the most perfect way to ruin a program.
Oh, I can see that for sure.
Because the alumni, I mean, you guys built it, and it's your home. If anybody should feel welcome, it's you. Before I let you go, Ryan, you had your time in the NFL, had your time with the Arizona Cardinals, Baltimore Ravens, two fantastic teams right now, two teams that could arguably make the Super Bowl. On the Cardinals offensive line right now, we see Justin Pugh. Mm-hmm. And on the defensive side of the ball, we see Chandler Jones. So the Cardinals have liked the Syracuse alumni. What are your thoughts about your history with Baltimore and with Arizona? And mind you, Evan Adams, of recent offensive history on the line, was with the Baltimore Ravens as well. So these two franchises have connected with you and connected with other Syracuse alumni as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one thing about the Ravens organization, just top to bottom, just probably classiest in sports, they do everything first rate. There's a reason why they're successful every year, no matter who's that quarterback, with Flacco or Lamar Jackson, or back even when Jameel McClain was there, or Arthur Jones, up until now. I mean, they just do everything first class. And Arizona, I would say they've done a lot since I've been there close to a decade ago that makes them more competitive and to be in a position that they are now. For sure. I mean, NFL, you'll be surprised kind of how they like to allocate resources. I guess when you have to pay the players, you don't invest in facilities or different things like that. But just those two teams and just those two organizations obviously have a place in my heart. But it's never surprising, especially with a John Harbaugh coach team, that they're successful. That'll never surprise you. It'll surprise you when they're not. I'll just say that.
No, that's a good way to put it. Final points here with Syracuse Orange alum Ryan Bartholomew joining Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. What is your message to Syracuse, to the staff? What would you if you could be with the football team right now? Dino called you in with his staff, albeit it changes from year to year. But let's say you come in here, you're sitting with the staff, you're in the room, and they say, Ryan, you played here, you know what it's like to be successful and move on to the NFL. What's your advice for us as we try to get this ship turned in the right direction? What would you say?
I just think one thing is just you're all you got. So everybody in that room is all you got, and it's up to everybody in there to do the most they can to make sure they're successful. That's something I remember from my senior year at Syracuse. We had enough guys finally. We had enough talented guys as well, but guys finally that were committed to doing whatever it took to win, whether it's our workouts, our practices, strength and conditioning, everything across the board, doing what it takes to win. And you will see success that way. So it takes everybody in that room to make the decision that they're going to do their part for the team to be successful. That would be my message.
So everybody do their part, and on the field, do your 111th, and obviously in the coaching staff, do the same thing. A final point. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, and no, and it's 365. It's not just on Saturdays on there. 'Cause I think there's plenty of guys that try to do their job. Then they're just not prepared enough from their preparation to be successful.
Yeah, you know, and I think it really does. I mean, and it's a continuity. You keep changing coaches, it's hard to really have a central message. And I think what Syracuse is grappling right now with is not having an identity. And when there's an identity crisis, really nothing good comes from that. So looking to that, hoping for a positive future. Final piece here. You're connected with the Military Bowl and with the Military Bowl Foundation. You've been with them for almost a decade, a director of marketing and ticketing for the last 5 years or so, back 2016. Really, pretty much Dino's entire time at Syracuse, you've been over here with the Military Bowl Foundation. Just what you can say about being connected to the Military Bowl and what it does for you to have so much experience with one of the postseason bowls of college football. I mean, first and foremost, congratulations. Secondly, I'm really excited to talk with you about it because I think it's such a unique experience. That's probably very rewarding for you, I would hope.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I from the DC area, so being able to run a college football postseason event in my hometown at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium in Annapolis, a place I played some legendary high school games, to support our service members, both active duty and veterans, the USO, Patriot Point, which Military Bowl Foundation, we have a 294-acre farm on Maryland's Eastern Shore that we host wounded, ill, and injured service members, their families, and caregivers for retreats and just days of relaxation, just so they can kind of heal. It's just ultimate rewarding. Just tie the philanthropy to football, something, especially college football, something I'm super passionate about. It's been really rewarding. Only downside is just every year I want Syracuse in the game. It's just not coming up. Hopefully next year.
Yeah, no, I can appreciate that. Do you think the bowl season gets diluted when there's 43 bowls and 86 out of 130 teams are playing? I mean, how do you assess that when you see that what is it at this? I mean, it's almost 90 of 130 are out there. I love it selfishly as a fan because I get to watch all the games and everything's televised, which is really cool. But I mean, how do you look at it as being part of the bowl universe? Are there so many that sometimes it gets maybe convoluted? I mean, do you see that at all or no?
No, not at all, because I believe each game has a purpose, whether it's philanthropic, whether it's being community-based. And there's some bowl games in locations where they don't have college football regularly. This is their college football event, or certain teams being able to play in that area. It's a major economic driver for a lot of areas in the country. It's a lot of charitable things go through bowl games. I mean, it's the impact bowls make from the college football playoff all the way down to the last few bowl games is immense. And just for players, just while there are outouts and while there are people that participate, nobody's mad they went to a bowl game. They get a lot free gear, a lot of food, just experiences that they'll never have again. And just I always think back in my time at Syracuse, we went to one bowl game, we went to the Pinstripe Bowl.
Yeah.
My locker is Derek Jeter's locker. Like that's the experience that I will have for the rest of my life. And I could tell people that. It's just, I mean, they're important. I get why people say, oh, there's so many of them, but guess what? They're sitting on the couch watching them. And just the amount of good that having a bowl game does for the local community, it's almost unexplainable.
And you had Derek Jeter's locker. How'd you pull that off?
I don't know. I guess the equipment people liked me at that point. I think it was a captain thing at that point in time. But I just always remember saying that all the Yankee people come up to me and say, oh, you know whose locker this is? And each time I pretend not to know. I'm like, oh, no, whose? And then just to see them say, oh, that's Derek Jeter's locker. I say, oh, okay, cool, thank you.
And to be a part of a legend in that is so beautiful. Ryan, I know you got a lot of stuff going on with the Military Bowl Foundation. I'll let you get back to it, but I hope to have you back on the show soon because I really do appreciate and respect our conversations. And I would love to have some more time down the road here because I just feel like you have a wealth of knowledge and wisdom that I want to share with people, and I selfishly want to hear it myself. Any final notes on Syracuse football as we step forward here? First time they've had a 1,000-yard back in almost a decade, back to 2012 with Jerome Smith, who did it. And so that's a beautiful thing. And the single season leading back in the history of Syracuse in total yardage in a single season, passing Joe Morris after the record was held for 42 years, is Sean Tucker. And as an offensive lineman, I would imagine that Jerome Smith means a lot to you, and so does the fact that Syracuse finally did it again and made history.
Yeah, no, I think it's something that I hope all the linemen that participate in there, I mean, just the transformation of the offensive line from the last few years to this year, I mean, it was impressive to me. And just being able to do that again, just understand, though, that you're not going to show up between Sean Tucker and all the offensive linemen and the whole offense. You're not going to show up and do it again.
Yeah.
So you got to put in the work and understand and get better just to get to the same level that they were before. Especially, I mean, Sean Tucker, All-American, setting season rushing records and consecutive 100-yard games, or all the different things that they set. I mean, the other teams understand that as well. So it's just building off of that and understanding that we got to put in a lot of work to continue to stay on this level. And hopefully the passing game can also help contribute to helping the run game continue.
And if and when I would have an opportunity to have a say in anything, maybe I would have to bring back Ryan Bartholomew for some offensive line work with the current Syracuse players.
I think their coach is doing a good job. Even though I would say I coached high school for a while. I have a couple guys that are doing well because of that. But I think the coach this year, my name's blanking.
Yeah, Mike
His
Schmidt.
name's blank on me.
Yeah.
Did an amazing job this year, I would say. I want to meet the guy and shake his hand and say he did how well of a job he did, especially compared to what I saw a few years back.
Yeah, Mike Schmidt did a good job, but I don't want to take anything away from Ryan Bartholomew, and I'm not gonna. So you stay humble. I'll say nice things. For Ryan Bartholomew, Syracuse and NFL offensive line alum, including now working with the Military Bowl Foundation and working with high school student athletes throughout his history and so much more. Ryan, I'd love to have you back. And thank you in this crazy bowl season for taking a few minutes with me. I really do appreciate it, and it's an honor.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
All right, take care. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare it to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in their community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. I hope you're all having yourselves a fantastic day here today to start off the week and our final week of December and our final week of 2021, believe it or not. So please make sure that you spend your time wisely and be good to yourself and be good to others. I want to thank my incredible guests today on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for being a part of the show, that being our offensive line takeover. I love the fact that we got to give offensive linemen publicity on today's broadcast in such a big way because you rarely get to see that. So to not only have one offensive lineman on, but to have the entire show be dedicated to offensive linemen. We started the show with John Flannery of Syracuse Orange and NFL history. We moved forward from there to Cam East, who had over 20 offers out of the state of Louisiana, including an offer from Syracuse, and is heading to the lane train in Ole Miss. And we rounded out today's show with a Syracuse Orange and NFL alum on the offensive line as well, Ryan Bartholomew. Appreciate Ryan, John, and Cam's time. I appreciate you for being here and implore you to continue to watch and listen. We got coming up this week fantastic conversations with the Scotty Rogers of the Cotton Bowl, as well as Gary Stoken of the Peach Bowl. That's all coming up here very, very soon, and we'll have the ingredients to success probably brought to you by Avicoli's. We'll have fantasy football for Week 17, which isn't the last week of the regular season for the first time ever. And we'll be able to do a whole lot more. So a lot of exciting stuff coming up here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as we bring you the final week of 2021. In the meantime, find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call_DT. Now, of course, you can tune in live to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time by watching on YouTube.com/Wake Up Call DT, Facebook.com/Wake Up Call DT, and Facebook.com/LiveNowDT. You can also check us out by listening in on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.com, where you can subscribe to all of our content on WakeUpCallDT.com. Of course, after the shows go live, you can search them on the archives on
Stitcher, Spotify, MixLR, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Podbean, and more by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora or one word Wake Up Call DT. So you can look for us either way and find us on any one of these outlets. And a proud thanks to all of our Central and Upstate New York partners, Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Mon Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, as well as Progressive Dental, Avicoli's, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Millhouse Market, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Pizza Man, the Lemoyne Dolphins, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Honda City of Liverpool, Mother's Cupboard, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, and PB&J's Lunchbox there for you on 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. The food truck is now a cafe, and you can go and see them whenever you're jonesing for that food you love during food truck season. You can get it all year round for breakfast, lunch, and dinner Monday through Saturday at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York for PB&J's Lunchbox. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the proud multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Up All Day, Day with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. You can set that to Dolphin time on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every Wednesday during the month. We provide for you opportunities to connect with the Lemoyne Dolphins. And every first and third Wednesday of each month, we have AD and DT, featuring Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora, bringing you content on each episode about the Lemoyne Dolphins, Lemoyne College, and the community as a whole. And, of course, every second and fourth Wednesday, we dive into a story of a student, athlete, coach, or staff member in something entitled Dolphin Dive. In that special segment, you can find all of that content on the Lemoyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com for the library. And, of course, you can subscribe to us on YouTube at the channel Wake Up Call DT, all one word, and you can find all of our Lemoyne content there. And, of course, get more about the Lemoyne Dolphins by going to LemoyneDolphins.com. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the proud multimedia marketing partner of your Marywood Pacers. It's Pacer Pride at the end of every week during the month. On Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, we have the opportunity to bring you very special content with the Marywood Pacers, and that's in a segment entitled Pacer Pride, because that's what I have as a proud alum of Marywood University. You can check out the Marywood Pacers content by going to the Marywood tab on wakeupcalldt.com, subscribing to us on YouTube for the channel Wake Up Call DT, and of course by going to marywoodpacers.com. You can always find out more information. Check out stories from the Executive Director of Athletics, Pat Murphy, as well as student athletes and coaches by joining us weekly for Pacer Pride. With that being said, as always, folks, I hope you have a great day. God bless, no stress, do